roughing the passer calls.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Roughing the Passer. As always, my name is Drew, and I'm joined by my man who, damn, y'all had a good game today, my man, Mr. John Newman.
We had a good first half, and then we decided to take our foot off the gas and barely held on by the skin of our teeth.
Yeah, absolutely. Troy, we'll actually be going over those picks here in just a little bit. And we'll be talking about that and quite a bit more throughout the show today.
What's up,
now,
Troy?
Guys? What's up, Herman? What's up, my man? And guys, I want to let you know something before we get started today. Anyone that calls in today's show is going to be entered in for a chance to win a surprise gift from me. Now, if you're a collector, it's going to be something, obviously, it's going to be a card or something along those lines. If you aren't one of those people and aren't somebody that really, collects or anything, we have alternate things for you there as well. So anyone that calls in today is entered in for that. I'm going to put the link up in the chat right now, as we are the internet's only live NFL call-in show. What up, Eric? What up, Troy? Everybody, what's up? So all you have to do is call in and talk. You can talk for 20 seconds and you're entered. But that's one thing we're doing today. But John, we got a ton to get into, and I think the first things first. I pulled it up on the screen right now. I think we really we need to talk about the scores of these games, because once again, there were quite a few shockers.
Yeah. All right. So, Saquon hurt again. He's on both my fantasy teams.
Mine too.
Looks like he's done for the year. And, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen for him as a member of the Giants. It just seems the line's been killing him. That's not why he got hurt today. But
right.
Let's stay on track. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that if we choose to. The Bears beat the Giants in a game that I don't think either team looked particularly great. I know a lot of people are we told you Trubisky's good. You beat a Giants team. Listen, the Steelers beat a Giants team last week. I'm glad they won, but I realized what they won too. So Bears 17, right. Giants 13. The Rams are for real, man. Here's one of my picks, 37-19.
Then you got another team that's looking real, the Cardinals, 30-15.
I guess I'll have to start admitting I'm wrong on not only Kingsbury, but Kyler Murray too. I mean, this team looks legit. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the Ravens obviously took care of business. The Texans, they started the year with the two toughest teams in football, and they look good in both of the games. And I think this Texans team is going to be incredible, but they've ran into just brick walls. Then obviously you've got multiple other games today. Let's pull them back up to where we were here.
The Chiefs-Chargers game went into overtime. Bucker had to kick 3 50-yard field goals to win it. There was a penalty. Then they iced him with the timeout, and then he had to do it a third time, made all three of them, and it looks like the Justin Herbert era has begun. He played very well today. We're going to talk about that in more detail.
Oh, yeah.
But definitely had some poise. there. And if you Tyrod Taylor fans, or if you're holding a lot of Tyrod Taylor cards, too late. That ship is looking like it's sailing, and Justin Herbert's in. Titans beat the Jags 33-30. That's last week's schedule, but they beat the Jags 33. It looked like they were going to run away with the game, and the Jaguars came storming back. Gardner Minshew again, looking like an NFL quarterback. The Cowboys pulling a victory out of the jaws of defeat. Dan Quinn's coaching staff again takes a big lead, and you've got to really start to question what's going on in Atlanta, because they have players. They got one of my favorite players.
Great player, dude.
Calvin Ridley.
I play him twice a year. Our team plays him twice a year. This team has way too much talent to be playing what they are. I mean, you cannot tell me. I mean, a game like this today. This is last year's. We're gonna get to it eventually, but I mean, you just can't. The Falcons are too good.
And what happened to that defense? Dan Quinn's a defensive guru, or so he's supposed to be, and they're giving up 35, 40 points a game. Today they blew it. They had the Cowboys dead to rights. Dallas looking like they're going to be 0-2. I'm not going to lie. I was taken particularly fond of that, and they snatched a win out of nowhere. I think it's special teams. If we'll pull up that video at some point. I don't know what Atlanta was doing. They let Dallas all around the ball.
Atlanta's special teams. Oh God, yeah, I've got that video. I'm gonna pull it up here in just a moment for you guys. This was absolutely absurd. But here before we dive into all of those games, because there are some clips that I do want to show everybody. We do finally have something happened here. I don't know what exactly it was, but we are back, and we do have our stuff back here now. So let's see if we can let's see here. Okay, now we're going to be able to share the screen. And guys, remember, we are giving away something absolutely awesome if you guys call in today. So if you call in, you're entered in to win something really awesome. But so here's some of the other games. You got 40-39. We'll touch on that game here in just a little bit. But then you had the Panthers and Bucks, which is a lot closer than it looked. You had the 49ers stomping the Jets. The Jets are just the Jets, and Sam Darnold's not the answer. We'll talk about that later, I'm sure. The Steelers, your boys, beating the Broncos 26-21. Drew Lock going down, which we'll be talking a lot about, as that's one of our main questions of the day for you guys. You also had the Jaguars losing to the Titans. The Jags are putting up a fight every single game. I mean, 13 points in the fourth quarter right there. Jacksonville's putting up a fight. This is a team that's not going to go away easily. You also had the Packers 42-21, Bills 31-28 over a Dolphins team that never goes away. Vikings getting demolished by the Colts and Phillip Rivers, which is this Colts team I've been telling you, John, on this show. This is a dangerous team. Then you had the Cardinals versus, I'm still calling them the Washington Redskins. I don't care what they want to call them. 30-15 behind this explosive offense. The Ravens obviously took care of the Texans. The Chiefs barely snuck it out of the Chargers. That's a game we're going to talk a lot about today. And then at halftime, you got the Patriots and the Seahawks tied at 14. And, of course, Saints and Raiders tomorrow night. So that's the rundown of the schedule this week, John. But, we've got a caller we're going to add in now. 3B, what's up, my man?
What's up, Herman?
What's up, Herman? How's it going, bud?
I'm fine. As soon as I call in, y'all start talking about the one game I called to talk about.
Atlanta, Dallas, perfect. Well, first off, First off, welcome. Thanks so much for calling. And let's dive right into that game, and then we'll get you to answer our
Now,
question.
Herman, I got to ask you, you're in Georgia, correct?
Yeah.
So you're a Falcons fan, I'm assuming.
Somewhat. Yeah. I don't know if I want to say that now or not, but.
Well, let me. I know you called in but let me ask you a question. As a Falcons guy, I mean, what are your thoughts on Dan Quinn? Do you want a new guy? You think it's other reasons and not him? I mean, what do you think's going on there?
I take Glanville back.
Remember him?
Oh yeah,
Jerry Glanville.
Yeah, they need a coaching change.
Yeah, the thing is, every time he gets on the hot seat, he rolls off like 4 or 5 wins and saves his job, but it's not enough to get him over the hump. They had that, I hate to bring up bad memories, but they had that Super Bowl against the Patriots. Today's game sort of reminded me of that Patriots Super Bowl. I know it's a regular season game, but this game was over, and I didn't watch. I'm not gonna lie, like I watched it, but I was watching it, on the game cast and the scoreboard. This game was in the bag, and then the next thing I know, I'm looking, and Dallas is creeping up, and then the next thing I know, they won. I watched the highlights, and that onside kick was like, what are the Falcons players? They let Dallas all around that ball, so once it went over that 10 yards, they just jumped on it.
Let me pull that up so the people at home can see exactly what we're talking about. But you guys can continue to keep discussing it while I pull this up. But guys, you can't. This is quintessential Dallas. This is the team. I mean, not Dallas, Atlanta. This is the team that ever since the Super Bowl, they lost something. That game, I know people say that's an excuse. It's the truth. When they lost that, when they collapsed, that organization and everyone from the front office down to the players that are there, they lost something. And you look at it with this kick today. I mean, look at it right here as we're looking. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see it a little bit better.
Now, right here, the Falcons need to be around that ball. Not necessarily touching it, but they're backing off. Watch them back off.
Yes. Yeah, they back away.
They
back away. Why?
Listen, I've never coached in the NFL, obviously, but I've coached at the high school level. And a matter of fact, my first year at the high school level, I was a special teams coach. We work on this in high school. We might tell our guys not to touch it until it goes 10 yards, but be in the vicinity so when it goes 10 yards, it doesn't get fouled on by the opposing team. They literally backed away and gave this ball to Dallas. This special teams coach, the special teams coach has got to be reprimanded, whether that's a fire-in. I mean, what are you doing?
100%. Look, John, right here, where Dallas is clearly about to touch the ball, you've got 3 guys and a 4th over on the outside, all backing off, where as soon as his hand touches that ball, if you can time it to where your hand hits at the same time, it's a fumble. Like, these guys need to be around this ball, waiting for them to touch it, because the way it was bouncing, it was going to hit one of, as you can see, 4 people in the vicinity.
This in the shot right now.
Minor league. This was literal bush league football.
Right now, in the shot right here, Drew and Herman, you got 3 Cowboys and 4 Falcons, and the 3 Cowboys are literally the closest ones to all 3 of them. Maybe 59 or 69 there. Not so much, but not a chance. The Falcons, the way they played this ball, there was no way they were going to be able to get this. And now, right here, everything's good. And now they started to fade away from the ball, and that was over. It was over.
The biggest problem is they set up for this exact play to attack, and then no one attacked. Like the way that this is set up, John, you've coached 3B. I know you've coached, you said before. This formation is set up that they know the ball's going on this side of the field. You attack it. And
now everything right here is everything's good, and then they stop pursuing the ball.
Yes.
They
Herman, what's up? Herman, what do you think of this? Herman, what's up, man? Sorry, we've cut you off. Herman, what's up? What do you think of all this?
Yeah, that's kind of been a problem for them for a while. That and holding on to a lead. Like they get out into a lead and they get lax and they just lose it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It all goes back to when they had the Patriots in the Super Bowl. It was the same thing there. They get up on a lead, and it's like they get comfortable, and they try to play not to lose. Not to lose, yeah.
Yeah, can't do that. And if you look at that onside kick, everything was good for like 3/4 of it, and instead of staying right near the ball, they kind of went. They faded back, and the Cowboys came in, and once it went 10 yards, all they had to do was just fall on it, and they had the ball back. That's a coaching. I know the players made the mistake, but the fact that they made the mistake tells me they didn't work on it. Either they didn't work on it in practice, or the coaches put the wrong guys on that personnel package.
Well, John,
either way, it goes back to the coach. Don't be surprised. I don't know who the special teams coach is in Atlanta, to be honest with you, but don't be surprised if he's looking for another job tomorrow because Dan Quinn went from the doghouse. He finished strong last year, saved the job, and now here he is. I'm probably gonna be on the hot seat again. And there's Brad with Go Dallas.
Brad, call in, buddy, call in.
So, what's up, Dave? You know what? As a football fan, as a football coach, you can't win them all, but to lose these games in this kind of fashion really leaves a hangover.
Over and over and over and over again.
And like Herman said, I think Arthur Blank's got to clean house and get the stink out. I think there's a stink in the room, and you can put air freshener, and then the air freshener fades. And the stink's still there. I think he's got to clean it out, hose the room down, and start over again. And Dan Quinn might be a nice guy, and they might be very close because Dan Quinn's been there a while. But if Arthur Blank's about getting back to the Super Bowl and winning one, I don't know if it's going to happen with Dan Quinn anymore. I don't even think Dan Quinn's a terrible coach, but sometimes we all know it. When you're there a certain amount of time, that shelf life that expires there, and I think that's where they're at with Dan Quinn. And here's the thing: he's a defensive guy, and I don't see good defensive football. That's the one thing you can say with head coaches: they're usually always strong on their side of the ball, whatever they were a coordinator on. They may not even win games, but at least that facet looks good. Dan Quinn's defense don't even look good anymore. So what is he doing?
No, absolutely.
What's going on?
I completely agree. And 3B, excellent question and combo. But before I let you go, Bud, we've got a question for today that gets everyone entered in. So you're entered in for the giveaway later. We just need you to answer this question. That's obviously multiple injuries happened today. Tons of injuries happened today. So which injury that happened today will have the biggest impact on their team? And would the preseason have helped or prevented this injury from happening?
Be honest with you, I hadn't even heard of any of them.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley's out for the year. Drew Lock is hurt for a very long time. They don't know how long yet. Those are the two major ones. John can give you the other ones.
McCaffrey got hurt. He appears to be okay. You dodged a bullet. There, Nick Bosa's season looks like it's over in San Francisco. That's a huge hit for them. Some wide receivers, yeah. A lot of defensive guys that you may not be household names, but important to their personnel packages. And so it's I tell you, for those who play fantasy leagues, whoever has the best depth is going to probably win a fantasy league title this year because multiple injuries.
So 3B, to answer that question, now that you know that a little bit, what injury from what you've just heard do you think has the biggest impact on their team the rest of the season? And would a preseason have helped prevent these injuries?
I'd probably say Drew Lock.
Drew Lock, interesting answer. And do you think the preseason would have, if they even not 4 games, but even if they had, like, let's say week 1 and week 2, where the preseason would, do you think the preseason would have helped?
I don't know that a preseason would help prevent an injury. I mean, you've got conditioning and camps and stuff to take care of stuff like that. I don't know that a preseason would have prevented it.
Absolutely. Well, man, thanks so much for calling in, Herman. And anything else you got for us today? Anything? Did your team win today? If you want to just shout out your team, shout out the players that did well.
My Braves did.
Oh, your Braves did. That's right. Hey, my Marlins.
Yeah, they beat my Mets. They beat my Mets.
My Marlins might make the playoffs. It's a miracle. But anyway, 3B, Herman, thanks so much for calling in, man, and we'll be talking to you soon, my friend.
All right, take care.
Have a good evening. Guys.
Yeah, you know what? I want to piggyback off what he said with Drew Lock. You know, when I thought about the question when you asked it, my first instinct, obviously, Saquon Barkley's the biggest name. He's the biggest talent. Yeah. But he's on a Giants team that probably wasn't doing much with him. So what is the impact? The question says the biggest impact on their team. Drew Lock is a starting quarterback who's pretty good or supposed to be pretty good. Yeah. And the next guy up is Jeff Driscoll, who the Steelers made him look good today. But this guy barely started at Florida, okay? So how he's still on an NFL roster is a mystery to some folks as well. So I think he's right with the Drew Lock. I mean, you can make an argument for Nick Bosa in San Fran, but that defense is still pretty stout up front. They have 5 first-round picks on the front line in San Fran, so they're just going to have to pick up the slack for Bosa there. So Drew Lock probably for a team that has playoff hopes. I think now, I mean, you tell Bronco fans you're going to play half the year with Jeff Driscoll, or you can play the full year with Drew Lock. That first scenario is a scary one, and that's where they're at right now. And so I'm going to agree with Herman. My initial reaction was Saquon, but the Giants were probably a 4-12 team with him in the lineup. They still might go 4-12 without him because that team's roster is just not great. And I'm not a big Daniel Jones guy as much as some other people are. The guy is a fumble machine, averages a turnover a game in fumbles alone. Forget he never throws an interception. He's already turned the ball over once a game before even throwing a pass, and that's not a good recipe for success. Can he be great down the line? Maybe. I mean, Troy Aikman, look at Troy Aikman's rookie year. Was abysmal. One of the worst seasons a quarterback can have, and he became a Hall of Famer. But right now, the Giants are light years away from contending. Even in a division that's not super great, they're still not even in the mix. And so I think it's going to be the loss of Lock is going to be Bosa. Todd Kapoor, I'm reading the comments. He says Bosa. I don't even think he's. You're not. This is not a question you really can get wrong, because if you ask fan every team, they'll say, "Man, that's going to be tough." Right. And so, I mean, no one wants to lose anyone. It's tough when you lose a starter. So I think the biggest impact, though, is going to be lock. And Bosa's right there because, I mean, that guy's just a monster on that side of the ball. So we'll see. I'm going to knock on wood here. My Steelers, fairly unscathed. DeCastro hasn't played yet this year, but he's due back soon. And, we're not looking we're not that's the thing, Dave. They're not a great team with Barkley. And so I think Saquon Barkley, when healthy, that's the problem right there, is one of the best players in the NFL. I love him. He's one of my favorite non-Steeler players, but he keeps getting hurt. That line ain't doing him any favors. I mean, if you watch the Steelers-Giants game last week, I knew they were going to focus on him, but they bottled him up. They were in the backfield just as the ball was getting in his hands. And, 15 carries for 6 yards last week. And this week he was faring a little bit better until the ACL. So I think it's lock. I think the biggest name is Barkley when Bosa, but we'll see.
Enjoyed the chat as well, bud. Thanks so much for calling in. And guys, literally, I'm giving something away, and it's not like a base card that's worth 25 cents. This is a pretty cool giveaway.
Guys, and call in if you have a different topic you want to talk about or get our 2 cents or tell us we're right, tell us we're wrong, talk about the injury bug. Get into the preseason stuff.
To be what we're talking about.
Yeah, change the subject. We're picking topics and kind of running with them. I think not playing the preseason games, Drew. Yeah. I think it factored a little bit in there. I know. Herman mentioned they still do conditioning, but that game speed against an opponent you're not seeing in practice, your buddies that you on your same team, I think would have helped set the tempo. Is it a huge factor? No, I don't think it's a huge factor, but I do think it's a factor.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you troll, Nicholas Gable Jr., my buddy. It's something nice. But anyway, you got to call in to check. And so far, we got Herman, my man. That's the only one in, guys.
You guys apparently they want Herman to win the prize.
Yeah, and we're halfway through the show, so we're going to keep going through it. But for those of you that did not see the Drew Lock injury, if you did miss it, this is where they're saying that it looks like he did get hurt. And John, I kind of want your reaction here. You watched this game. This looks to be where he got hurt. And
Bud Dupree just
is it abdominal? Are they calling it abdominal?
No, it's an AC joint. It's an AC joint in the shoulder. This is an injury that's common with quarterbacks. It typically happens when they get hit and their arm's at a certain angle and they land on it, and it just I'm not an orthopedic, but there's a joint in your shoulder, and when your arm's out like this and you get hit, maybe fall on it, it does something in there. It's an AC joint. I thought Peyton Manning had this. I know a few other guys have had it. It's usually the bad part about the AC joint injuries with quarterbacks. It usually happens on their throwing arm because that's how the injury happens. Their arm is out in a kind of a cocking motion, and they land on it. And so it's not like it's the other shoulder where they can maybe wear a flak jacket or something and play through it. This is they can't throw with this injury. If you don't see it on this video, I watched this game obviously live. He was slow to get up, and when he got up, I knew it was bad because his arm, he literally had his arm down to parallel to his side of his body. He was just kind of hanging there. And so I remember my son had to leave, and we're both saying, I remember texting him. I'm like, Drew Lock's hurt bad, and that's the end of his day. And, as much as I love my Steelers and I want them to win, you don't root for injuries, maybe in the Super Bowl, but in week 2, a young player You hate to see that.
If
you win a game, you want to beat
Super
someone
Bowl, you
with
hope
their
they're
players.
But you still, I'm with you there.
And then Jeff Driscoll came in, and the Steelers secondary made him look like, Peyton Manning was back. So
one. So we've talked about Locke for a little bit, but there was we've got a new caller we're gonna add in. Dave, what's going on, Dave? Thanks for joining the show, my friend.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing good.
What's up, Dave?
So that going back to the injury with Saquon, I didn't even think about him being so bad. Like that team is just really bad. And
I'm pulling it up right now. If you're watching the show as well, I was actually pulling that up.
That's the thing, Dave. Like I love Saquon. I love him. Like he's on both my fantasy teams. I believe him and Christian McCaffrey are the best two running backs in the game. But that Giants team there's not enough around Saquon. They can't win with him. It's not his fault. I'm not even blaming. It's not his fault. But
I hate to go down. He's an awesome player, but
when you look at this play, like I didn't see it as it happened. I seen it after the fact. It doesn't look terrible.
Well, it's right here. You'll see it's right there where it happened.
Yeah.
The tackle is where he gets hurt. He's standing up. It's about 4 or 5 yards when his knee kind of you see him
anytime,
when he bounces off of that tackle, that's when it happens.
Yeah, anytime you see a player pound his fist into the turf,
right there, when he's being pushed, that's where it goes right there. I hate it for Saquon. But anyway, we do have a caller. So, Dave, what's going on, man? Jump on in, bud.
Yeah, so, it sucks that he got hurt because, like John said, he's an awesome player, and you never want to see anybody get hurt.
No.
But, I think the Locke one probably is the biggest.
Yeah.
When we're talking wins and losses, I mean, Saquon Barkley's a better. You can't compare a running back to a quarterback, but Barkley's a better football talent. But in meaning to the team, in wins and losses, like Dave said and I said, it's the Locke, Bosa and San Fran. But the Giants were a bad team with Barkley through no fault of his. Right. And they're going to still be bad. And so I don't think it's going to equate to less wins for them. It's just going to be their bell cow back is, again, injured. And here's the thing, it's sad because this is going to be really almost the second almost full type of year where he's going to miss significant time. And, he's
his career right now. That's absolutely huge. I mean, these are his time. We do have another caller on hold. Nick, we'll get to you in just a moment. But Dave, anything else you wanted to say today? How'd your team do today? If you want to brag about that or talk about how bad they suck like my Panthers.
My team's Dallas, so they kind of got lucky because the coaches were
You
bad.
didn't get lucky. Atlanta sucks. Atlanta played Atlanta. You won.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this for Dallas. While they had no business winning today, Atlanta kind of gacked that one up, I believe. Put it on the coaches, if you will. CeeDee Lamb looks good. You had 3 receivers over 100 yards. Zeke Elliott. Prescott had a great game, 450 yards pass. So for a game they really had no business winning, the box score shows a lot of good things too.
One thing I do have to say before I let Dave say one thing before he hops off is I do not blame the coaches 100% on this. I blame the 5 Falcons that decided to stay away from that football when they knew damn well that ball was about to be fumbled if they put pressure on.
Well, it's you're taught. I coach special teams for years.
I know. I played special teams.
Yeah,
I understand.
You're taught, man. Once that ball crosses from 10 yards from where it's kicked, it's a live ball. You got to be at least in the vicinity so when that happens, you can fall on it and retain possession. So they were actually retreating. The closer that got to that 10 yards distance, they were backing up. You're supposed to move closer to it as it gets to that 10-yard distance, not away. You're supposed to back away before the 10 yards so you don't touch it before the 10 yards and it becomes a live ball.
Exactly.
And they retreated. It makes me mad. I'm not even a Cowboy nor a Falcon fan.
Well, there we go. Well, Dave, I hope we answered your questions. Do you have anything else you wanted to add, bud?
I'm good. So thanks, guys, for doing
awesome. Well, thanks so much for calling in, man.
Yeah, thanks for calling in, Dave.
Anytime, and you're entered in to win a little surprise here at the end of the show.
Thanks a lot, man.
Yep, have a good one. All right, now we're going to bring in Nick. Nick, how's it going? Nick, you there, my friend?
What's up, Drew Manchu?
Oh, goodness. Is this Nick Mattiasi?
No. Hell no.
Okay, well, I see you, Nick. Anyway, all right. So what's up, everybody? It might be a Gable. I'm not sure, but
it's Gable.
There you go. What's up, Nick Gable? Thanks for joining the show. So first up, what's up? What can we do for you? And then we'll have you answer our question here. But what did you think of the game today?
Steelers game? Of course. Diehard Steelers fan.
Oh, goodness. We got two Steelers.
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure about Nick, and now I like Nick.
All right, there you go.
Diehard Steelers fan. Been a diehard Steelers fan for 48 years. My question is what do you guys think about old brainless Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I tell you what, that's a great question because I wanted to talk about Brady today.
Me too.
They won today, Drew and Nick. He's not playing well. He's not playing well.
Barely won that football game.
And Brady's numbers are not there. Jordan, my son, who knows a lot of football too, he said before the season started, we kind of had a debate. He goes, everyone's going gaga over the Buccaneers because of Brady. This is a 43-year-old Brady whose skills are eroding. And so they're not getting what they think they are. They're definitely overpaying they're paying for a 30-something-year-old Brady, and they're getting a 43-year-old Brady. And so, I know it's only 2 games in. They're 1-1, but, my son looks more right than me. And he looks like the game is catching up to him. I don't know, everyone was talking Super Bowl and NFC championship game with them. I think we got to cool your jets of those folks. And he looks like, it's happened before. You see quarterbacks get in those 40-year ages, and it goes downhill. Peyton Manning did not play well his last year too. Granted, he was coming off some injuries, the Joe Namaths, the Johnny Unitas's struggled at the end. And I'm not saying he's struggling, but you're not getting prime Brady. You're getting kind of the, when you buy meat in the grocery store and it says discounted, must eat by, and you got like 2 days to cook that thing up before they tell you not to eat it. And I think that's what the Bucs have. I think, when they signed him, we didn't have the pandemic. I think they figured they raised season ticket prices. They figured they'd be selling out games left and right, selling Brady jerseys left and right, which they still might be doing, even though there's no fans in the stands. And I almost think they signed it for that sort of thing as well, and they're not getting that bounce from him. And now you got a guy that's a good, I like my son says, Jordan, and you know him, Drew. He says he's a good quarterback. He's not a great one anymore. And so I think you're seeing some struggles. The first week, Bruce Arians said he played terrible. Not a really good thing to do.
I think I honestly think Tampa Bay's defense is what won the game today, not
It did.
Brady.
It did.
Yeah.
Well, two things won the defense today. I watched the game from start to finish. I watch every Panther game in incredible detail from multiple angles and analyze everything about it. Two things won that game for Tampa today. The fact that the Carolina Panthers have decided this season we're going to do this. We're going to try this new thing in football where our corners don't tackle. Our corners and safeties just refuse to tackle. They don't even make an attempt to hit you. So if you get past our front seven, it's a touchdown or a 25-yard gain. It's interesting, and we'll see how our record turns out. So that was a big factor in the game. They just let him run all over him because the Panthers defense is a fucking mess. Kuechly will get that. Kuechly will get that under control as he coaches and everything. Shaq had a rough game. The defense, Dante Jackson played great on defense, but the Tampa Bay defense was the other team that won that game because they put pressure. Teddy Bridgewater last week looked like a starting quarterback in the National League, maybe a top 12 quarterback in the league. I'll take it on a team with Christian McCaffrey. Today, this defense made him look like a bottom 5 quarterback in the league. That combined with the fact that the Panthers don't know how to tackle, that's why they win this game. And this game was a lot closer than people thought. The score makes this seem like, they ran away with it or something. No. This game was close for quite some time, and they had all the chances in the world to lose it. Brady did not win this game. His defense and Carolina's defense won that game for him.
I agree totally.
Yeah, there's no way around it. So, Nick, thanks so much for calling in. But before I let you go, man, we got to get you to answer our questions so we can get you in on there. So, tons of injuries, and we haven't even mentioned all of them. If there's another injury that happened today that you think is more significant, let us know. But what injury do you think will have the biggest impact on their team? And would a preseason help some of these early season injuries when these guys really aren't in football shape?
I honestly think preseason would have helped out. I've seen a lot of players on San Francisco limping around and just I really think that the preseason would have helped them, stretching out and stuff like that and getting their shit together.
Yeah, but I don't think Nick's wrong. And here's the thing, we talk, like Herman said, they're still doing conditioning. It's not, number one, it's not the same. And here's the other thing. With this pandemic, every coach has a different philosophy. I'm sure in some of these camps, they were just like Club Med, like show up, let's watch some film, let's work through the playbook in the meeting room. And maybe the conditioning wasn't as much as maybe other teams were doing. And maybe those teams are getting some of these injuries. We don't know. We weren't there. But it just makes you wonder, maybe these coaches were saying, hey, let's take it easy and go into the season full strength and kind of didn't run conditioning a lot. And now these guys are tight and stuff's going and being pulled or hurt. And, maybe that philosophy sort of backfiring on those kind of coaching decisions. It's easy for me to say and play armchair coach. I don't know how each coach and team ran their off-season camps, but makes you wonder. I think with, I'm not a big fan of 4 preseason games. I think that's too long, but I think two might have helped in this department.
Absolutely. Well, Nick, thanks so much for calling in, man. I'm sure I'll be talking to you soon, and please call in anytime. And thanks for entering in for a chance to win a little surprise here in just a little bit.
Yeah, must start San Fran. Nick mentioned San Fran. The running back Mostart's hurt as well.
Yes.
Jimmy G went down, and so. They finished that game with Nick Mullins. San Fran really's
No,
I'll get to that when we get to the game balls and goats. We'll get to that.
I don't even know if we're going to get to that as busy as we've been tonight. We've got another guest joining us, and that is, of course, Mr. Brad. Don't you dare!
Look what he's wearing. He got that out of the closet. When they were when it was looking like they were 0-2, it was hanging up. Oh, we lost him.
Something just happened to Brad's connection. He seems not to be here today. Oh, there he is. Oh. He seems to be leaving. I can't get him. All right, put your shirt down.
That thing was hanging up in the closet when it looked like they were about to be 0-2, and he quickly took it off the hanger. Said, "All right, I can wear this again."
Nope, I was.
Oh no!
You're just mad because the freaking Stars are still in the Stanley Cup. So shut up.
Damn right. All right, but anyway, guys, I wanted to touch on something real quick before we move on, because we talked about the Drew Lock game, but there was one thing from that Denver game that I wanted to focus on. And John, I know you're gonna love me showing this right now. But this might be, we're going to get to shit whip of the week here shortly. I've got an excellent one for you. But this absolutely is probably the play of the day. This was just phenomenal. Claypool, you're looking at.
Look at this throw, man. Right on the numbers.
Dime. I'm going to zoom in to where you can see what matters. Okay. All right. We're going to go back to the beginning of this one in just a second, because I want you guys to see this, because this was, if you missed this, this was just absolutely phenomenal. Look at you see the setup. He's one-on-one the entire time. The safety's faded to the left. They never go near him. And Big Ben just hits him.
Yeah, Ben, this is listen, I know a lot about my Steelers. This is the kind of play when he saw the matchup. That's a rookie corner, by the way, out on Claypool with a rookie himself. Ben knew where he was throwing this before the ball was snapped.
Of course
if you watch this again, he doesn't look anywhere else, Drew. Run this one more time.
Yeah, no, it's height, it's look, it's
watch Ben. Run this one more time and just focus on Ben until he throws the ball. Watch everything.
Wait till Claypool gets 2 steps on him and the ball's going. Watch. He gets 2 steps on him once he converges at about the 23, and it's done. It's just, hold on, let me see. There we go.
Never looks anywhere else. He goes right there, ball's up, off to the races. And you can say what you want about Ben. I know he has his moments. He threw a bad interception later on in this game, but it's those kind of plays that he can make there from experience that can make the difference. It was a difference. They won by 5 points. So
absolutely.
Amari Cooper's catch was much more impressive. The one-handed being overthrown and one hand catching that and bringing that ball in.
Yes,
that's a pretty sweet catch, John.
The Amari Cooper was definitely a nicer catch.
But I think you got to be excited with CD Lamb, 100 yards today.
Yes,
a rookie.
Yes,
yeah.
A lot of people panned that pick because they thought Dallas didn't really need another receiver as bad as other positions of weakness, and right now that pick's looking like a home run. And we're all in the hobby.
Right here.
Yeah, and this is just Amari being Amari. It's a beautiful.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean,
look at that concentration right there. Eyes still on the ball, brings it in. It's great technique. It shows how you should actually, when a ball's overthrown, keeping the eyes on the ball all the way in, concentrating. The only thing I was a little disappointed is he didn't break it for the long touchdown, and that's whatever.
So we got a little bit of time left. We are running. Thank you guys so much for calling in so much. But Brad, I gotta ask you, man. Which injury? We gotta ask you the question so you can enter. Which injury of all the injuries? Jimmy G, Mossberg. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Which injury today is going to have the biggest impact on their team? And do you think the preseason, if they'd even had maybe a week or two of the preseason, even if they played one quarter, do you think that some of these injuries could have been prevented?
Well, the one of the most significance that I think of is the Jimmy G. I mean, that's just because it's at the quarterback position, just because it's just so integral. The only caveat is that can the team just run without him? The Jimmy G one's the one that's going to be the most fascinating moving forward. If I want to go home team, I'll go LVE, Leighton Vander Esch. I know that's not an in season. But you could really, really tell that the Cowboys missed Don Terry Poe on the inside as well as LVE. They're running wild through the middle of Dallas's defense. But if you're talking about today, I'll say definitely Jimmy G, because that's going to be heartbreaking. That's going to be heartbreaking if he's out for forever. It just all that money that they paid, all the expectations of that team. That's going to be one that's going to be to watch moving forward.
Although Nick Mullins came in and looked like Jimmy G the second. So, again, they played the Jets, which you take what you will from that.
Against the Jets right now. I mean, I feel so sorry for the fans and for the organization and for the players of that team, just because, I mean, their number one pick, Mekhi Becton, I'm a huge fan of. I mean, the dude's like almost 400 pounds, runs an incredible 40-yard dash. He's just a freaking beast. And I'm so sad that he's stuck in New York in the Jets.
Well, look, me and my son were talking about this today too, Brad and Drew. Well, look what's happened to Le'Veon Bell since he's went there. He's become an afterthought. Yeah. This guy was one of the best running backs in the NFL, about to get paid. He got paid, not as much as he wanted, and now, the Steelers tried to get him before the trade deadline back last year. The deal didn't happen, and if that was still on the table today, the Steelers probably wouldn't even take him. He looks sort of like the tires are kind of bald on that car, and so. I blame that a little bit on the Jets. Adam Gase, don't get me going on him. I could do an hour.
Yeah, don't get me going either.
I can do an hour. I'll give it away. He's one of my goats, of my three goats. He's not even a player. He made my goat list because that team is brutal. I think that they don't like him and they're not playing for him. And the Jets front office keep giving them voter confidence, saying they're behind him, and it's just a mess in New Jersey. And if you're a Jets fan, I as much as I don't feel bad for other teams' fans all the time, I'm a human being, and there's a place in my heart where I really feel bad if you're a Jet fan, because just when they look like they're moving in the right direction, they beef up their defense, they sign Le'Veon Bell, and then Adam Gase just kills everything. And so, they got to, like I said earlier, they got to just clean up that room, spray the walls down with germicide, and the Eagles. I don't know what's going on there,
hold on one moment. Brad, thanks so much for joining the show, man. We'll be talking to you soon, bud.
All right. Peace out. Have fun.
Brad, see you.
All right. Yeah, Nicholas Gable Jr., who did just call in earlier. John wants to know our opinion on the Eagles being 0-2, which I'll tell you my first thought. Wow. Like, really? I didn't see this coming, did you?
I didn't see them being 0-2. I didn't think they were going to the Super Bowl either. Carson Wentz, I've always kind of stuck up for Carson Wentz. Like, Philly fans can be brutal. Yes. You can play really well, and you have like one bad series and you suck because it's Philly. And I always thought he gets a raw deal. You look at the end of the year, he has a great season numbers wise, and Philly fans hate him. And I've always stuck up for him. And this is the year. I know it's only 2 games. This is the year the Philly fans are actually right about Carson Wentz. He doesn't look good. He looks like what Philly fans were saying he looked like even when he didn't look like it. Now he's making their points look accurate. And, again,
question for you, and for everyone out there. Does Jalen Hurts start this year even if Carson Wentz is healthy, if they continue to lose? Do they give up on Carson Wentz and see what they have in their rookie? If Carson Wentz stays quote-unquote healthy, maybe he's hiding an injury, whatever it may be, but if he says he's healthy and he goes out there and play and the Eagles absolutely shit the bed like they are right now, do you guys see Jalen Hurts eventually getting a shot?
If they keep losing, Drew, that's what's going to happen.
It has to, right?
That's what's going to happen. When you lose, you have to draw attention to a positive. You have to try something. And so if they go 1-5, they start 1-5, even 2-4. You know how fans are in Philly. They may not even be in the stands because there's no fans in the stands, but their voices will be heard. That the Philly press is not huge fans of Wentz, and they'll throw him under the bus. And you better believe Doug Peterson reads that stuff. He may say he doesn't and doesn't react to that.
Oh, no, he does.
And it really is not, at the end of the day, it's not even going to be Doug Peterson's call. I don't care what anyone says.
No.
It's going to come from that front office. They're going to say, listen, we're 2-4, coach. We're 1-5. Wentz doesn't appear to be the long-term solution here. Let's see what we got with this Hurts guy. You're telling us he looks great in practice. Let's put him to the test. Let's throw him in the fire and see if we need a quarterback. Like the answer's not even on this 53-man roster, or he is the guy and it's not Wentz, and we have the guy all along with the draft pick this year. That's what's going to happen if they don't start winning games. Kyle Gosline in the chat room, great point here. Talks about Anthony Barr from Minnesota. Minnesota, another team at 0-2. What happened? I love Coach Zimmer, but apparently, like Kyle said, missing Barr in the middle there. I guess they're getting exposed, and so I'd love to have Coach Zimmer coach the defense in Pittsburgh instead of Keith Butler if he wasn't the head coach in Minnesota. And there's a lot of teams right now that are surprising. Minnesota 0-2, the Eagles 0-2. And then on the other hand, the Bills look like they can compete even against the Chiefs of the world. And it's going to be very interesting. The injuries today are numerous and significant. So depth, teams depth. I talk about your fantasy team depth. And these real team depths are going to really be called into question. Devonta Freeman, not on any team. He might be getting a call very soon to come in. I know the Eagles had worked him out or had scheduled a workout, but Miles Sanders looks good. So I don't know where he fits in. I guess maybe for depth if Sanders gets hurt, but
doing those COVID quarterbacks and stuff, keeping him away from the team just in case something happens, he could easily be one of those type of team quarterbacks. But it's definitely interesting that they're keeping it. But I completely agree with you, man. I actually expect Jalen Hurts to be here quite soon, pretty quickly.
Well, here's the thing, Drew. Football, man. You don't win. If you don't win, it really don't even matter what your stat line is. If you go 0-6, 0-7, they're gonna make a change. The old adage, right? Quarterbacks and head coaches, they get too much of the blame and they get too much of the credit, right? Well, when you're an 0-2, you're gonna get a lot of the blame, and if they continue to lose, they go 2-4, 1-5, like I said. Wentz is going to watch football instead of play football. And, I think Philly fans, man, if I was I was a football player, but if I was an NFL guy getting drafted, I don't know if I'd want to be drafted to Philly. That's just a very impatient city. This is a franchise. These are fans that cheered when Michael Irvin was motionless. This is a fan base that booed Santa. This is a fan base that booed the Donovan McNabb pick when it was really a good pick. They just didn't like
one ball there. You fumble one ball there, and you're forever hated. I mean, it seems.
And so I don't know Carson Wentz's personality. If you see him interviewed and how he carries himself, super nice dude. I don't know if that's going to work.
I don't either.
And I think Philly must be thinking that too, because why would you draft Jalen Hurts? It's the same reason. It's the same reason Green Bay drafted Jordan Love, because they were falling out of love with Aaron Rodgers, although he's starting to make them fall back in love. He put some makeup back on, some high heel shoes, and he's starting to look pretty again. And, they're going to get remarried again and go on a second honeymoon, and Jordan Love's going to have to carry a clipboard maybe a little bit longer than he anticipated. But, through batters, man, Philly fans are brutal. Someone asked me, Drew, because I sometimes go to away games and watch the Steelers, and someone asked me, is there a stadium, an away stadium, you wouldn't wear any of your Steelers garb? And I'm not a scaredy cat. I pretty much would wear it anywhere, but if I had to pick one place, it would be Philly. I actually went to an Eagles game years back. It wasn't Eagles Steelers. It was Eagles Bills. I went on like a party bus with some Bills friends of mine as a Steeler fan, just to have some fun. It's a party bus, and it was brutal. Seeing that in person, I almost wore a Bills jersey just for fun. Let me put it this way: I'm glad I really didn't that day. And, really, it's pretty scary. I mean, they got a jail cell right in the stadium, at least the old one. I'm assuming the new one. And Philly fans don't mess around. I mean, they're just, for whatever reason, they're unhappy and they just like to complain and nitpick. And I don't know if Carson Wentz is going to finish his. I'd be shocked if Carson Wentz finished his career in Philly. I'd almost bet my house that that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, 100%. So, guys, it is. We are running a little bit late tonight, so I guess we'll kind of skip. Maybe we'll do game balls and goats next week, John. What do you think? Because I wanted to.
I can just rip them off without going into.
All right, yeah, we'll do that. Rip off your game balls and goats real quick, and then I'll knock off.
Yeah, I won't say much. We kind of talked about some of them. My game balls go to Calvin Ridley. Nice. Aaron Jones had a monster day for Green Bay. I'm going to give my third game ball to Justin Herbert in San Diego. 300 yards passing, his first touchdown. 22 of 33, and almost beat Patrick Mahomes. My goats, 3 goats. Kirk Cousins stealing money. That guy is stealing money in Minnesota. Yeah. If this was Walmart and they had the receipt, or even if they didn't, Walmart doesn't need a receipt. They should bring Kirk Cousins back and get their money back. Carson Wentz. You look at his stat line, it wasn't brutal. It just wasn't enough to get it done, and he didn't look good. And a non-player, Adam Gase, is a GOAT. Yeah. That team is off the rails. That team it's week 2 and the Jets have quit. It's week 2 and the Jets have quit. That's on the head coach. You got players publicly saying no one respects him. They got players anonymously saying they don't respect him. They tried to trade their best player, Jamal Adams, to Seattle. He's playing right now. He's a baller, and they have to trade him basically almost for nothing because he just refuses to play for an inane coach. And that the Jets, the wheels have fall off. And then the Jets front office keeps saying they stand behind their man. What are you doing? Like, I mean, what else do you need to see? Are you watching the same football everyone else is? Like, clean house. It was a bad hire. I mean, the you think of Adam Gase, you think of the crazy eyes in the press conference. If that's the first thing you think of when you talk about a head coach, that's not a good sign. It's time to get rid of him. He might be better. He's one of those guys. We've talked about this on this show before, Drew. He's one of those guys that might be just a better coordinator than a head coach. So I'm not even saying he shouldn't be in the NFL. He's just not head coach. Doesn't appear his head coach material. He can't win that room. His players can't stand him. They can't stand him to the point they don't even have to be anonymous. They say he's terrible. Some players stay anonymous and say he's terrible. What else do you need to say? They're saying that they're putting their name to it. They're not putting their name to it. But no, have you ever heard anyone come out and say they like Adam Gase? I've heard no one come other than the Jets front office. I've not heard a player that I'm not saying it's 100% hasn't happened, but I haven't heard one player say, "Hey, he's a great guy and we like him and he's a guy," other than the front office. And so that's a dumpster fire of epic proportions. Put it out, Jets front office. Do your fans a favor. At least show some initiative that you're trying to do something there. Brutal.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I completely agree with all of those. I've got a couple of similar ones and a couple of different ones for my game balls. I'm going to start with first, and my first game ball, I'm going to give it to Tom Brady just because, for the simple fact that he rebounded after a tough week. The amount of pressure that's on that man, I know he's the greatest of all time, but the amount of pressure that's on that man to win is astronomical. I thought he did great today. I know he played the Panthers, but the Panthers gave him a good game, and he really looks like a lot more of himself today, not like it looked like he had Father Time in like the Scorpion Deathlock. Not that Father Time had him put through a table like last week. Like it was completely different. So I'll give my first game ball over to Tom Brady. My second one, I mean, there's no one else. I mean, I'm looking through this as I was doing this. I'm trying to figure out who I needed to get the game ball to, and there was really only one person that I could think of in here, and that, of course, is Kyler Murray. I mean, Kyler Murray has been absolutely phenomenal. Kyler Murray, 26 for 38, 286 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception in the air. But he also had 8 carries for 67 yards. That's 8.4 yards a carry and 2 rushing touchdowns. The dude, he can do it all. You add in the fact that he's got DeAndre Hopkins, who's already averaging 8 catches a game. You've got Christian Kirk. You've got Andy Isabella. Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds are a wonderful combination. I love those two guys. So I've got to give my next one to Kyler Murray. I think he proves me wrong every single week. And my third and final game ball of the week goes to a man that needs no introduction as he's sitting right here, and that's Justin Herbert. This man is... let me ask you this, John, and you can answer once I'm done talking about all this. When's the last time you turned on the Chiefs game and you found yourself watching someone besides Patrick Mahomes? Since his rookie year. I mean, you turned on a Chiefs game, you're watching the Chiefs. You turned on that game today to watch Justin. And I said it on this show. I said I loved what I saw on Hard Knocks. And I thought this kid was going to be amazing. I thought he needed more time. I still think he needs more time. He's a little raw. He steps up in the pocket phenomenally. He has great footwork, but he is a little raw. He is going to struggle. But you put him, granted, fans in the stadium, I think this is a little different. But you put him up against Pat Mahomes and that team, and he does this. No, granted,
he went toe to toe. If
yes,
this is a boxing match, he went blow for blow with Patrick Mahomes. And this thing,
that's what I'm saying. Mahomes 27, 47, 302 and 2 were his. And you're looking at Justin Herbert 22 of 33, 311, 1-1. I mean, that's absolutely phenomenal. Plus 4 for 18 with a rushing touchdown. I mean, he did go toe to toe with Pat Mahomes. But the funniest thing to me, and someone asked me, when's the last time you turned on a Chiefs game and you weren't watching for Patrick Mahomes at number one? It's been years until today.
I try not to watch the Chiefs games as a Steeler fan, unless the Steelers.
Right, but you know what I mean. You understand.
It makes me feel like we don't have a chance to win the AFC. Right. But yeah, he's a dynamic player. I think you're going to see some of these young quarterbacks. Kyler Murray, listen, I'm not going to let you take the heat by yourself. Kyler Murray proving me wrong. I thought he was going to be a bust. I'll say it. I got to be honest.
So did I.
He's proven me wrong. Good for him. And Arizona 2-0, right? And looking like sort of like Lamar Jackson West, if you will. And I guess you could call him Lamar Jr. since Lamar was a year ahead of him. But really some surprises. I think you see in these young quarterbacks, quarterback Drew Lock prior to being hurt today, another young guy. Josh Allen starting to figure it out and put a total game together. It's the out with the old and in with the new. Phillip Rivers, Roethlisberger's on his last year or two, and we're bringing in this new wave of QBs, and the QBs of today have to be able to run the ball as well with these new offenses. You have to be guys like Murray and Lamar Jackson, or at least somewhat. Herbert can run a little bit, not in the same vein as those two. But you got to at least, even if you're not a runner, you got to be able to at least move the pocket, move out of the pocket, and throw on the run if you're just a thrower. So the game's evolving. We're not seeing those true pocket passers like we used to. Drew Brees is sort of the last of those. Roethlisberger was a runner, but now with old age and 39 years old and cement shoes on, he doesn't do it no more because he can't. He clogs around. But he used to be, and so those guys, those pocket passers, are kind of becoming a thing of the past. And if I'm a high school kid and I'm just a pocket passer, you might want to change positions if you have dreams of playing in the NFL, or work on that dual threat capability. But that's where the game's going. Teams want their quarterback to be able to throw for a first down or run for a first down. Either one. It keeps the defenses. Obviously, I'm a defensive coach. It keeps the defenses honest and on their toes, and they can't stuff the box with 8 guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more on multiple different everything you just said. But guys, before we wrap everything up, we do have one more segment, and you guys know what it is. That, of course, I mean, John, can I get a drum roll while I get ready here?
Ready?
Yeah. We've got our shit whip of the week. That is right. We are returning with the shit whip of the motherfucking week. And this week, John, it was a little tough this week because there were a couple of them. I liked a couple of them, but there was 2 that stuck out. So I'm gonna let you guys be the people that decide which one gets shit whip of the week. This is my this is the second choice. My choice will be after this. But shit whip of the week. Here we go. Let me know what you guys think of shit whip of the week. I think this is just an awesome one right here. But shit whip of the week. Just a brutal. I mean, just absolutely slams him. This was sent in by our viewers.
That's a good one.
Just absolutely crushed. I'm not super impressed with that one. Mine that I had, and I want you guys to let me know. College had some big ones, but in the pros, this to me has got to be. There's three, but I think this is probably what I'm going to go with. I'm going to check one double time. I really think that there were a couple of really big hits this week. I will say that. They're starting to hit a little bit better, but they're not tackling. They're not wrapping up, which is what's frustrating me, is that no one's wrapping anything up. And that's what gets these guys to get these touchdowns, because they're not getting, wrapped up at all. But here is my version for shit whip of the week, and we'll make sure it's popped up here. I want to give you guys the best view possible so you can see it. There we go. Yeah, okay. Shit whip of the week, my version. Let me know what you guys think of my version, the one that I chose here. But let's see. Yeah, this would be it. All right. This is just a brutal penalty. Yeah, no. It's a penalty. He was penalized big time. I mean, you look at these. He's hit helmet to helmet hard, hard.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, that man. Look at that whiplash.
Yeah, that's.
I felt that here in New York.
Exactly. That's my choice of shit whip of the week. And so, John, I think you're with me. That's the winner, right?
I agree with you. That he's going to be definitely a lot lighter in his wallet after this game, for sure.
Oh yeah.
There's definitely some fines coming for him. Oh man, yeah, that's that. Seeing that, you actually worry if he's seriously injured.
No, absolutely, 100% you do. I mean, you have no clue what could truly happen. So that's my pick for shit whip of the week.
Yeah, I mean I think that to me that takes it. I mean, just on brutality, you know what I mean? The Drew Lock hit from Bud Dupree was serious. I thought it was a candidate. The first one you showed, which was in the same game. But that one, that one's the worst of the three that I saw. There's another play too. Devin Bush, whose jersey I'm wearing, he hit a receiver after the catch with his shoulder. It was a legal hit, but man, he sent them back. It was impressive.
I saw that one. That was gonna be the one that I was gonna do, but I decided to go elsewhere besides.
It's hard with this category with all the new rules and regulations about. Years ago.
I don't like to do when people could be injured. I don't want to show injuries, things like that. So
if we did this show 5-10 years ago, we could show 10 clips and have a hard time picking one. But with all the new rules, it's cut down on some of these big hits. You this, man. You're old school like me. The NFL used to come out with those VHS tapes, right? Big hits and sacks all on one tape, right? 30, 40 minutes of just brutal hits. They marketed it.
Yeah, that's how it was marketed as nothing but big hits like that.
Yeah, I mean, and then CTE became obviously a huge topic, as it should be, and we've kind of, I want to say, coached out of the game, but we've kind of regulated that stuff to a minimum, as it should be. But you know what? Football, let's be real, football is a violent sport. It always will be. That's why you wear helmets and all those pads, and people will still get concussions and injuries and broken bones and AC joints like Drew Lock and ACLs and MCLs, and it's not for the faint of heart. It's a man's game, and and as we saw, there are still some serious hitting going on nonetheless.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry, guys. I know you've seen the back of my head. I am getting the giveaway ready right now. I think we're going to probably, we'll end with this right here, and that'll be good. Or we'll end with this right here. All right, so the winner of this is going to get a 4-card. Since I know all 4 of you are collectors, I don't have to worry about doing something else. But Herman, Dave, Nick, and Texas Card Dude, aka Brad, what I'm gonna do, since there were 4 of y'all, John, I'm gonna write a number that you obviously cannot see. People can see me writing the number.
I have ESPN, so I already know what you wrote.
Okay, so I wrote 1 through 4 on these guys' names. I want you to pick a number 1 through 4, and that person will be the winner.
All right, so my favorite number is in between 1 and 4, so I'm going to go with my favorite number, which is 3.
Very nice. So 3. Nick Gable Jr. You are going to win a Desmond Patton. I'm going to pull this closer so we can see. A Desmond Patman auto. You are going to win a Joe Burrow rated.
He's looking like the real deal too. Talking about young quarterbacks.
Yeah, get this card graded, the score. Then you're also going to get a blue parallel of Jacob Eason, a guy that, he just needs a chance.
Yep.
And then last but not least, a Stars of the NFL, Chris Godwin. And this is player worn, but a Chris Godwin relic. So these 4 cards, courtesy of Roughing the Passer, will be sent out to you in the morning. Please send me your address, buddy. I know we're friends, so you can send it right over. But guys, so I think we need to call it quits. I got some stuff I gotta get ready before bed, but thank you guys for the phone calls. This is what we want. We want to talk with you guys. We want to really interact with you.
Not to cut you off, Drew, you saw a couple people called in. They didn't even put their face on the video. They just asked their question. And so if you're shy, listen, I don't know why you're shy. You're not going to be any uglier than this guy. So at worst, should be second place, maybe even first place in far as best looking on the screen. So, but if you're not comfortable, I get it. You can do, we had a couple people call in without their face on the screen. That's fine. What difference does it make? It's what you say that matters. And, if you got to call in that way, more the merrier. So.
Exactly. And I hope you guys like our new format where we're going to be every week. We're going to be doing the videos with our picks. I think that gives you guys a chance to be able to, look over them, get our little input without, having to designate an entire show, because I think it it needs to be condensed into a 6 to 9 minute video. So we'll be putting that out every Thursday, just like always, and be on the lookout for a lot more promotions, a lot more giveaways.
I'm gonna get a jersey. I'm gonna give away a jersey probably towards the back end of the year. Much like this, not this one per se, but a Stitch jersey, and figure out what player we should do. Maybe Mahomes, maybe one of these young guns, maybe Joe Burrow. What about Joe Burrow Bengals jersey? We'll see. So
exactly.
It'll be a Stitch jersey, and someone will win it. And that'll be fun.
Absolutely. Well, John, I'll tell you guys, he's the king of giveaways. But anyway, y'all, it's an hour and a half in. Thank you guys for staying up so late with us. I hope your team won today. If they didn't, I hope you won in DFS or fantasy. If not, there's always next week. But for myself, the DH, please let me get that autograph. New episode just dropped. I think it's a good one. I haven't talked to anyone who's listened to it yet, but I think it's a good one. And I know John Newman put out an excellent episode of his show on Friday, so make sure you check out Sports Card Nation as well. But guys,
and real quick shameless plug. I'll be super brief. Next Friday, hasn't aired yet. Next Friday, my dad is my guest, and I got to be honest with you. When I did the interview, I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but really, really well, and I think people appreciate it. That's it. I won't go crazy.
No, awesome. I'm looking forward to hearing that interview. I know I am. But
I got him to cry too. So that was good.
Well, that's always good. Well, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for hanging out, and we will see you guys next week. Peace.
Roughing the passer calls.